5 times the size of France, Argentina is the second largest country in South America in terms of surface area. Several years of recession and one of the highest inflation rates in the world have in recent years forced the Argentinians to find alternative solutions to do more with less. In a country where over 90% of the population lives in the cities, those who choose to live in closer contact with Mother Nature are often viewed as cranks. Some see them as resistant to progress, others as visionaries. Fred, Laure, Martin, and Sheen have decided to visit them to find out how they experience going back to the land. First stop, the Enchanted Orchard, which belongs to Maximo, an agronomic engineer who decided to rid himself of the superfluous and get back to the essentials.
Hi, how are you?
Fine, and you?
To get closer to nature, he left his apartment a year ago and moved into a tent, running this orchard.
I'm going to show Mummy. Show Mummy. Mummy, it's a pear. There are lots of pears over there.
So, what do you think of them?
They're great, firm and juicy.
They aren't very sweet.
No, they're a very old variety. That'll be 8 pesos, please. I've noticed that as well as coming to buy fruit, people come here for the place. For me, it's an enchanted forest. I don't know what charm it has, but that's what I feel, and that's what I experience. The people who come here want to go into their enchanted wood and eat their apples there. I think that these fruits are an elixir of life. That's what I tell people. They're also very healthy, very natural, with no industrial intervention. They go straight from the tree to here. It's always been like that, except for the last 200 years. It's always been direct from the tree to the stomach.
Can I help you?
Yes, thank you. Take that over there. It's heavy, isn't it? Careful, it's heavy.
Although Maximo still likes to use a traditional barbecue for grilling meat, for the rest, he's a big fan of solar cooking.
I started out living in this tent, but I kept an apartment in Tilcara. Then, as time went on, I got rid of the apartment, moved into a bigger tent nearby. So here I am, living in the great outdoors with the rain and all that. It's a bit crazy, right? But I like it. I like it a lot. Here you're away from it, even if you're close by. The nearest village is 2 kilometers away, but we're still cut off from the world. Hey, Guacho, what are you up to? Go fetch me some sugar. When the sun is shining, I feel like it's a blazing fire with nothing cooking on it. So I always put something on to heat in my solar oven, like water, for example. Otherwise, I feel like I've lit the gas for nothing.
taste the pear, it's really good.
Full up on solar energy, Fred hits the road again. Next stop, the region of Buenos Aires, some 2,000 kilometers away. Maximo's return to nature may seem a little ad hoc, but others have taken their utopia very seriously. And clearly, their aim is to construct viable solutions for the future. For almost 20 years, they've been experimenting here with new construction techniques and a new approach to community living. The basic principle is not taking more from the earth than one can give back. The man behind this project is Gustavo, a disciple of voluntary simplicity and a committed ecologist. To him, this way of life is not about utopian idealism, rather an environmental emergency. Sharing the experience of the community is an integral part of the project, and Sundays are set aside for visits.
Over time, we've realized that when you really decide to integrate yourself into the ecosystem, you start to construct a society of abundance instead of this perverse consumer society, which always produces more instability, poverty, and generalized violence, which leads us to disaster.
The inhabitants of the village have drawn a large part of their inspiration from Amerindian cultures, which have always integrated human activity harmoniously into the heart of their ecosystems.
We call this technique direct construction because with a simple mixture of earth and straw, you can instantly put up a wall by modeling it with your own hands. The highest construction of this type is 17 stories tall in Yemen.
Can you do everything with this technique?
It's a very malleable material. You can use it to make stoves, like this one, which is very efficient. There's a combustion system inside. And you can see, the pot goes directly into the stove. So the heat is perfectly distributed.
I'm taller than you. Look, it's made of earth.
That's right. Don't scratch it.
That's a stove.
Ah, I see.
And the sun is there. And it goes inside. The sun is there.
Okay.
Beyond the technical aspects, the foundations of each new house are built on solidarity. Here, the work is shared, and everyone helps the new arrivals to build their house.
This technique enables us to recycle all kinds of waste. The colored bottles that are placed in the middle of the earth will allow the light to pass through. Compressed plastic, like this, goes into the middle of the walls. We also put old insect-damaged wood there. Once it's in the earth, it doesn't change. We like to recycle as much as possible. The construction becomes a recycling machine of sorts.
Building the houses of the future from earth and straw? For many of us, that's a tough concept to accept. We've learned to put our trust in stone, steel, and concrete. So to build our houses like our ancestors did 1,000 years ago requires a major shift in our mindset. No TV, no household appliances, no motors, and very few home comforts. It goes without saying that voluntary simplicity is part of the project. The question is whether in the 21st century we can be happy with so little.
Hello. Mummy, can I slide?
Of course.
Back on the road, Fred, Laure, Martin, and Sheen are now heading for Chile. From his trip through Argentina, Martin will remember that from one side of the country to the other, men and women are sparing no pains to do more with less. To reach the frontier over 1,500 kilometers away, first one must travel over the clouds and cross the Andes. The villages and the oxygen become increasingly scarce, and they will probably have to spend the night in the mountains.
We've now arrived at the salt flats. It's 6 a.m. and we got here at night, so we can see the sunrise. I have to say that we didn't sleep very well, despite this being a magical place, because we're at 3,500 meters above sea level, and that can give you a headache. So we're going to wait for the sun to come up and see how beautiful it is.
It's the beach.
It's not the beach, it's salt. It's like the beach, except we're very high up in the mountains. It's like a mountain beach.
We're in the mountains. Daddy!
Hi!
Are you okay? You're not cold? What's that? You have to tell her, Martin.
It's salt.
It's salt. All you need is a bucket and spade.
Does it taste like salt?
Over there is where the sun will rise.
The moon is high. It's high.
Yes, it is. It's not ready for bed yet. You're right.
There it is. What have you got on your hands?
Socks.
Gloves.
You put socks on your hands because they were cold.
Yes.
Look at our shadows. Look at our funny long legs.
Look, Sheen.
There are lots of pools.
Little pools. It's freezing, freezing. We're not going to swim in that. We won't be able to.
Around 5 million years ago, runoff water high in mineral salts flowed into this basin. Trapped in the mountains, the water was unable to flow to the sea, and the region's arid climate did the rest. Today, this lake is completely covered with a thick layer of salt. To harvest the salt, the locals dig basins called piletas. Revealing the water underneath, it evaporates naturally, leaving salt crystals to form. The license for the whole site is privately owned. And in this sterile region, where oxygen and shade are cruelly absent, only the Quechua mountain people are willing to harvest the salt. Jose is 26 and has been doing this job for 8 years.
A ton is worth 50 pesos, or around 12 euros. But you have to bag it and load it into the trucks as part of the deal. You can get up to 3 tons from each pileta. But it depends on the pileta. Some are bigger than others. I make salt lamps with these big pieces, which I sell. I don't make many. I make a hole here to make a lamp, but I first have to leave it like this to dry out for a week.
A last fill-up in Argentina before heading into Chile. The road winds its way across the Andes and goes higher than Mont Blanc. At 4,820 meters above sea level, this is probably the high point of Martin's trip across South America. The first border and the first problem. Fred discovers that in order to leave Argentina, he needs a form for his truck. His contact is in Buenos Aires, over 2,000 kilometers away. There's no question of turning the truck around and going back. The only solution is to have the document sent via email and satellite link. Because it's impossible to know how long this will take, the only thing to do is set up camp in this spot between heaven and earth. In this lunar landscape where the mercury regularly falls below freezing, there are only vicuñas and a few birds for company. Vicuñas are from the same family as camels and are the smallest camelids in the world. They are also one of the most attitude-tolerant mammals, found at up to 5,800 meters above sea level.
Everyone uses their time as they wish, like these two. Great. We've got it. We've got the authorization. The long-awaited authorization is finally here after 2 days. We can take it to the customs officials. The diesel in the truck is frozen. There's no additives in the diesel here, and because it gets so cold at night, we're going to have to thaw out some parts. The diesel filter in particular. Here's the diesel filter, and you can see it's completely frozen inside. Even the water dripping down is turning to ice. There are ice cubes on the ground.
Because we've been stuck here for 2 days, we've nothing left to eat. So today I decided to make some bread because there's no baker within 100 kilometers. And 100 kilometers is quite a long way, particularly for a truck that won't start.
We're nearly there.
Now this can go in the oven. There you go. Now, has it made any kisses?
Yes. Will you cut them off?
Ready? It's hot.
Yes. And we're off. Hello. We've come about the truck over there, across the border. Thank you very much.
You're not done yet. Now you have to go to immigration to get a stamp. You entering or leaving Argentina?
We're leaving Argentina and going to Chile.
There, go that way now.
Have you got your immigration card?
No.
Are you going into Argentina or leaving?
We're leaving Argentina and going to Chile.
Did you already get the stamp?
Actually, this isn't the first time we've come. We're going through the formalities to leave again. We were missing a paper and we had to cancel the stamp. We've got the missing paper now and we need the stamp again.
Is that the stamp from the 4th?
Yes, it was the day before yesterday.
Okay. There are 4 of you?
Yes.
Fill this in and see my colleague.
That's it. I think we've got the magic document that will allow us to leave Argentina and go into Chile.
Back at the truck, the Chilean customs officers are waiting for the family for one final check. Rules are rules, and no fruit or vegetables can be taken into Chile. With nothing left to eat in the truck, before getting back on the road, the family has to stock up in a grocery store, handily located right by the border.
That's queso.
Queso.
The big ones are queso. Do you want some chicken, Martin? It's not that one.
You're going to taste them all. I'll cut your chicken for you.
Chicken. Shall we go?
Let's go!
2 days of waiting, 17 rubber stamps, and a magic paper sent by satellite. Fred is starting to realize that the truck is a bit of a liability when crossing borders. The whole family is now free to continue on its way, up and down the steep slopes of the Andes to the Pacific Ocean, to meet Chilean people and discover their original solutions for reconciling man with nature.